Hello, my name is Taylor and welcome back to the DriveDown YouTube channel. It's no secret what we're going to be reviewing today, and this is a big moment for the channel, getting exclusive access to this vehicle. Thank you to BMW Cleveland here in Solon, Ohio. But today, everyone's talking about this. We're going to talk about a little bit more than that. So what we'll do is we'll do a little exterior overview. Our formula so far, if you watch any of our other videos, we'll do the exterior overview, interior overview. I'll do a little technical overview as well. If you want to skip past that, you can. And then we'll do a driving portion where Drew will be joining me again, and we'll give you our thoughts on this amazing, controversial, beautiful, ugly car, whatever side of the fence you're leaning on. One more thing I did want to mention before we begin the review of the M4 is DriveDown. I know I've mentioned in other videos beforehand, but wanted to almost give you a little bit more information about where we're headed and everything like that. What DriveDown is it's obviously a YouTube channel. We have an Instagram page. We want to do podcasts and other things like that, but the larger piece of it is a unique online car buying experience. There's going to be a lot more information to come. See below for our website, our Instagram handle. You can know us here, obviously, on YouTube. And give us a follow, check it out. Right now, it's sort of in the earlier stages, but it's going to be a lot of exciting things to come, and we'll continue doing it here on YouTube as well. And we're excited for the future. So let's get started now. All right, so the format of this walk around, I wanted to do sort of my point of view. I think that gives the best representation of the vehicle. So again, very exciting. Thank you again to BMW Cleveland for providing this vehicle. This is a 2021 BMW M4. So this is not the competition. This is the standard M4, which comes with a 6-speed manual. I'll get into that a little bit more in the technical overview, but just wanted to do a walk around. So obviously, starting at the front, that is the most controversial, most talked about, etc. piece of this. I gotta tell you, it looks really, really good in person. I think especially in this black sapphire specification with the shadow line grille and everything like that, I think it just looks mean. Honestly, Batmobile is the sort of the thing that comes to mind. This vehicle also has the individual shadow line lights, which are black. I think it's like $300, definitely worth getting. As we walk around here, one thing that I did criticize, and you will see that in the M440 video, is the lack of sort of haunches, right? I think we definitely get that more here. Now, you're always going to get more of a pronounced sort of wheel arch on the sedan, just because the sedan is narrower by nature, but this looks pretty aggressive. Probably my favorite body line on the entire car is right here. So it almost looks like a box arch. I'm not sure if that's coming across on video. You should be able to see it. But just so much presence in person. I'm so pleasantly surprised. It looks miles better than the normal 4 Series coupe. One other thing that I don't think comes across in pictures. Check this out, guys. Look at these they're almost like separate shark fins right on the carbon roof. I can't imagine that was easy to do. So props to BMW. But I mean, it just looks mean. It looks really, really cool. One thing that I sort of was undecided about when looking at pictures, especially when they first leaked photos, I almost thought it looked a little bit ricer, honestly, or, a little bit tuner-esque with these sort of large, chunky bumpers. But in person, it actually works, honestly. The car does have a lot of presence with those low sort of side skirts, those pronounced side skirts as well. I'm walking around, very large exhaust tips. This car has the extended shadow line, which that comes standard with the competition models. So you get the darkened exhaust tips. And those would normally actually be chrome on the M4 if you didn't get the extended shadow line. But walking around here, again, this vehicle in black sapphire. Again, I'm a big fan. I know I've talked about it previously. The black brakes that BMW is doing right now, I just think they look awesome. Just want to get you the most accurate depiction of what this car looks like in person. I think it looks absolutely stunning. Turns heads. And then another thing, that is pretty cool is you do have this sort of pronounced, and it's even more pronounced. It's there on the normal 4 Series, but it's even more pronounced here, this sort of character line as well. Wish these were functional vents, but we can't have it all. This car is executive package, so you get the laser lights, with the blue accenting there. Yeah, I think it looks pretty darn cool. Again, with what I've said in the past, it's something that you need to check out in person and see for yourself, but honestly, I say well done. I say well done. It's different. It doesn't look like anything else on the road. In your rearview mirror, it looks somewhat terrifying, honestly. Yeah, overall, really cool car, and I love this wheel design. It's one of the optional wheel designs. You can have it either in this all black, or you can have a polished face with black accenting. Yeah, I think overall, very cool. So what I'm going to do now is do a little technical overview. If you would like to skip this portion and skip ahead to the interior overview and then the driving portion, please go ahead, but I'm going to sort of delve a little bit more into the engine and all that good stuff. So yeah, if you'd like to skip ahead, but otherwise, let's get started on the technical overview. All right, so starting with the technical portion of this. This is the S58. This motor debuted in the X3M and X3M competition. It's a replacement for the beloved S55 that was in everything from the F80 M3 to the M2 competition and the M2 CS. This is sort of an evolution of that. 3-liter straight 6, twin turbocharged. Here in the normal M4, what you get is 473 horsepower and 406 pound-feet of torque. Definitely a bump in horsepower compared to the old F80 and the S55, but torque stays the same. Now, the interesting thing is that, and this is important to know, this car with the normal M4, you get the 6-speed manual. If you want an automatic, you cannot get that in this standard M4. You have to upgrade to the M4 competition, in which case you'll get the 8-speed auto, but you also get a big bump in torque as well. So with the competition, you actually get the exact same engine, same internals, everything, just a tune, and that goes up to 503 horsepower, but the big piece is the torque. It goes to 479 pound-feet. So you're getting a big upgrade. Really, the reason for that is BMW has always been really particular in what they will put manual transmissions in. This is why we never got a manual transmission in the diesel 335, because they were worried about people going through clutches. So that's why, I think you aren't getting that torque. So if you want the big torque, you got to go for the competition and get the automatic. Now, another interesting thing about this motor is, and we'll talk a little bit more when we drive, the power delivery is definitely a little bit different from the old one, and that's because torque doesn't come in, peak torque 406 pound-feet doesn't come in until 2650, whereas on the old car, it came in at 1850. So you're looking at almost 1,000 RPM difference in that power delivery. So that's something to notice and to take note of if you are looking at one of these. One disappointing thing under here, for those of you that know, the F80 M3 and F82 M4 had the carbon strut brace along with the M2 competition. This car does not have that. Now we got metal. So, take that for what you will. Sort of going over the rest of the car, like I said, this one is a standard M4, so it has the 6-speed manual. Hallelujah. Thank God BMW's still sort of sticking to their guns there. The competition comes with an 8-speed ZF automatic that we all know and love, that BMW is very good at tuning by now. Brakes, we have standard steel brakes. These are 6-pot front calipers. They're the same ones off the M5. And then we have 2-pot sliding in the rear. Again, steel rotors. Obviously, carbon ceramics are available at a very, very costly option. If you're going to be doing track work, that may be worth it. Then tires, we have the excellent Michelin Pilot Sport 4S, 275/35/19 in the front. And then, curiously, not too much of a stagger. We're at 285/30 R20 in the back. Now, the interesting thing is that they went up an inch in the back. BMW's doing this. The X5 and X6M competition have 21s and 22s, 21s in the front, 22s in the rear. Not sure why they're doing that, but that's something that BMW started to do. Limited slip differential. This car is rear-wheel drive. All-wheel drive ones will be coming out hopefully by the summer. At least production will start, and that will have that same switchable all-wheel drive as the M5 has. So you'll be able to put it in rear-wheel drive if you want, which I think is a nice touch, especially living where we live up here in Cleveland. Having that all-wheel drive flexibility is fantastic. In terms of exhaust, the normal M4, you get a valved exhaust, and I'll sort of explain, how you sort of change the valving, and it goes with drive modes, but there is a way to switch it off, and it does sound pretty good. The M4 competition gets a little bit louder of an exhaust as well, but it sounds pretty good to my ears. So that's pretty much everything I wanted to go over for the technical overview. Hopefully I didn't bore you too much. And now let's hop in the interior, and then we'll take it out on the road and drive it. So I know normally in the videos I've done, I've started on the inside when I do the interior section, but I wanted to start on the outside and open the door so you can see how this interior just pops. I mean, that is some bright orange. You know, this interior is called Kyalami Orange. It really is great in person. It honestly is not too obnoxious. It honestly looks brighter on film, but this one does have the full leather, which I like because you get leather down here. You can even see the stitching right here. You get a full leather dash, leather upper door cards. I mean, this is all leather, and I think it looks great and is worth the additional charge, which we'll go over at the end. These are the standard seats. They actually are the same seats that you'll find in the M8 or the X3 and X4M. I think they're nice seats. I'd be tempted by those carbon buckets. Haven't sat in them yet. You know, people are all over the place, whether they think they're comfortable or not, whatever. I'm going to wait to see myself. We have some Alcantara here, which I think is nice. A nice little accent goes down here. And I don't know if you can tell, but there's some texturing, sort of some waving right there. So let's hop inside. So the seats are very comfortable. I would argue that if you've sat in an F80 or F82, M3 or M4, the competition seats are definitely more supportive, and I think those carbon buckets could be the ticket. Looking around the interior, it's pretty standard. If you've been in a G22 4 Series, pretty similar. Got a lot of the same stuff. Nothing earth-shattering here, but the leather just feels so nice. The new carbon trim, which is, you know, an option now. You know, carbon trim used to be no charge. It's really, really nice, but here's the cool thing. You get it on the steering wheel, and if you get the competition, you have those paddles. Those paddles are going to be in carbon, which is nice. I think overall the interior feels very quality with this, you know, full leather as well. I mean, I love the stitching you see everywhere. We do have full digital gauges started up here. Something very cool that I wanted to show during this section as well. If you click this little M mode button down here, what it does is it changes it to track, which I think is really, really very, very cool. And then you can actually see it, it's flickering a little bit, I know, but your head up changes as well. So here I'm in road, and then I go to track. You can see there's a little rev counter, and I get this full sort of display. So that's something that's very, very cool. Everything else, I'm not gonna waste time going over, you know, the different, you know, nuances of iDrive and everything. There's plenty of videos on YouTube going over that. I think it's a really good system. You do get, obviously, your M1 and M2 buttons for configurable driving modes. Here are sort of your available settings, right? They're not down here anymore like they were in the old BMW, the old M3, the F80, but it's actually all in here. So we have engine, gear shift assistant, which is nice. It's actually the auto blipping. You can turn that on and off as you please. The chassis, which, you know, this car rides really well in comfort. I honestly, Sport and Sport Plus are pretty hard for the road. Steering weight, and then brake, which is a new thing that has sort of come with the M8, is that it actually is modifiable braking or configurable braking. So it just changes the way the brake pedal feels a little bit more immediate. I leave it in comfort. I don't really think it's necessary. But yeah, you know, just honestly a nice place to be. And come on, guys, how much can we complain when BMW has stuck to their guns and is selling a 6-speed manual in 2021? I mean, we have to be happy about that, right? Here's your exhaust button right here, and when you click it, you'll see M control off, and I can actually hear the valve opening and closing. I think honestly that's gonna about do it in here. Why don't, speaking of that little valve, why don't we do an exhaust clip, and then I will get it on the road and we'll tell you what we think. Back with my friend Drew here.
Hey, DriveDown. What's going on?
Hi, Drew.
Hey, Taylor.
Hey, Drew.
Welcome back to 2021 BMW M4 non-comp.
Non-comp. That is key, because why?
Stick shift. Yes, everybody, we are in a manual transmission car.
We are.
We are setting off in comfort mode just to talk about one key feature.
This is we're on a bumpy road. Right now.
A very bumpy road at high tire pressure. We are driving a car right now.
Oh wait, hold on. Let me tell you what the tire pressures are, because this is a race car, and I can tell you my tire temperatures and pressures. We are at 42, 41 on the front two, 41 and 40 on the rears.
Running higher.
Thank you, race engineer.
Running higher than normal. I would suggest mid-30s. But we were driving in comfort mode on a bumpy back road. And this thing is the daily driver you want. It is comfortable, it is quiet, you can have a civilized conversation. You can even film a car show without any sort of interference or compromise from the suspension. This is a terrible road we're on. We did this on purpose just to demonstrate how they've fixed these chassis dynamics. Anyways, moving on to a more smoother, twistier road. Taylor, I think it's time for
M2?
M2? Okay.
Okay.
And we're off.
So one thing I think that we talked about is, by the way, I'm not a hero. That is automatic blip. I want to be very clear so that people don't think I'm like this unbelievable driver. I mean, which I am, you know. Our twisty road plans were interrupted.
We've aborted that idea. Big power. You know, it's really no joke.
It's no joke, and honestly, I have a lot of seat time in F80 and F82, actually recently, and I got in this and I actually was disappointed because I felt like it didn't pull as hard. It's different. The way that they tuned this S58 is very, very different because, and maybe the comp will be different, but in this car, you know, like I talked about in the technical overview, you're not getting the peak torque until 2650, something like that, which is coming on, you know, about 1,000 RPM later than the old car. And I feel like the torque builds in a much more controllable, progressive way.
I'm going to take a leap of faith here. This feels way more E46 than previous BMWs.
You're talking about
I'm talking Holy Grail.
Yeah, well, you're
arguably one of the best M3s.
You're talking about a cult classic right there.
Yes.
You better be careful what you say.
And one of the best BMW motors in probably the past 20 years for sure. And I will tell you that the power delivery feels very similar. You have very linear all the way up to red
Which is
line.
Interesting for a turbo motor.
Yeah, no.
Turbo motor you expect to die out. Now, unfortunately, we want to be transparent. We can't rev this to red line because we're going to respect the break-in. This car is brand new. You know, we want to respect the future owner, right? Although I really want that person to be me.
Me too. No, I just think that you have a very, very nice, smooth engine. This is not heavily boosted. If anything, it feels slightly lower on the boost.
It feels less boosted and more naturally aspirated than the S55 does. Yeah. Than the old motor does.
I tend to agree.
For your reference as well, you know, since we're talking about this car for some people is going to be a weekend toy, but for some people, the appeal of an M3, M4 is that it could be a daily driver, right?
But does it need to be a weekend toy anymore? There are no compromises.
And I tend to agree, especially when it's going to come in all-wheel drive. For us folk up here,
it's going to be
agree. So I had it on the highway today, though, just because I was curious. At about 75 miles an hour, which I think is like a typical cruising speed.
I would say so.
It was sitting close to 3,000 RPM, which that's what you're going to run into with a 6-speed.
Gearing.
Is gearing, right? It's turning around 25 miles to the gallon, which is not great.
It's not great, but honestly, it's leaps and bounds from where we were.
Yeah.
You know, we have more electric cars, we have more hybrid cars than ever. This is a car that needs to be celebrated. BMW has really stepped up its game. This is a true 911 rival. That's another big leap of faith, I know, but base Carrera pricing is still higher than this car, optioned.
Well, but hold on, and we'll talk at the end when we look at the window sticker. This car starts at 71. This car at 71.8, which you're going to get pretty much everything that's in this car. You just aren't going to get, you know, you may not get the fancy leather, right? You may not get the laser headlights and head-up display, but you're getting all the powertrain stuff.
This is a
71.8 for almost 480 horsepower.
This is a complete package.
Okay, finally at a twisty road. So let's see. Okay, second into third. I mean, and there's no lag. I mean, okay, first turn. Oh boy. Hyper, ultra athletic. Super linear, the power. Steering off center. you know, not a ton of steering feel, but
so blown away by this car.
and it's 36 degrees right now. We're on summer tires, no problem. And that's what I'm talking about, that torque delivery. They really nailed it because it's so progressive that it doesn't snap on you. An F80 is a scary, I was gonna say, it's a scary ass car. It can be terrifying because it snaps on you. That torque comes in and it's, woo, you better be ready.
I think they listened to the previous reviews, comments, buyers. I think they've dialed in the M4 to where it needs to be.
It's so good, man. It really, and I just hate, because we're gonna get accused being fanboys, whatever, but I dare you, even if you're a BMW hater, get in this car. It does everything that the F80 did wrong. It doesn't feel clunky. It feels responsive. It feels light on its feet. It feels approachable, where the F80 was like a sledgehammer. You used that word.
I honestly think
and you got the auto rev match. Look, 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd. I'm a hero.
To be honest with you, I think this is a complete package. I think, you know, previous gen F80 had its
I love the rev match.
shortcomings.
It's so satisfying.
And I just think that BMW's really hit it out of the park with this one. I mean, I spoiler alert, this is a great car. This is a great car.
If you want to stop the review now, stop it.
I feel like I need to have a small go in it. Just a small go.
Small go. We can do a small go.
It's just too good.
So we're letting Drew have a go. He's setting up his. What are we in, Drew?
We are in engine sport. Gear shift assist on, chassis comfort.
Even though
steering comfort,
we drove
brake
it yesterday, and I will say this man can heel toe. You know, you were doing it nice, but it's just too easy.
You know,
and it's nice to the transmission because you know.
And it also, this car allows you to determine what your mood of the day is.
Yep.
You're driving to work. You're on calls. You're preoccupied. You don't have to worry about rev matching. You don't have to think about much. You can just drive it like a normal car, which is what cars should be. They should be normal.
Yep.
And then when you leave work and you're feeling a little fruity, you can go out and you can have a little fun. You can have the noise.
So speaking of noise, what do we think about how this car sounds?
It's okay.
I think it sounds better than the F80.
Yes. I think they've definitely got something figured out.
A lot of active sound coming through the speakers.
I was just gonna say, something's not real, but I mean, you get an induction sound, and you don't really hear the turbos.
Yeah.
So you kind of think you're in a car. It's just the fit and finish is incredible.
This interior,
these seats are amazing.
BMW gets criticism on not making the M3, M4 interior special enough. I think if you really want that special interior, you go for the full leather.
Yeah.
Because I think, we have a leather dash here, leather upper doors, leather doors. All down here is leather, right? The glove box lid is leather. This is stitched leather here. This is leather.
It makes it more of an experience.
Yep.
Which that's what we keep touching on.
And the carbon trim here really dresses it up, doesn't it?
The car is. I just tried to heel its toe, but
I saw that. Yeah, I felt the car lurch there.
That is one thing I may never get used to. I will also never get used to sport braking.
Heel towing, bro. Heel towing is so 2019.
I think the sport braking feature needs to go.
It's cool.
Brake pedals.
Wait, who cares, bro?
But really, I mean, you get big turn-in. You get a wonderful feel when you come out of the corners. I mean, it just wants to dig and go. I mean, you have a great diff in this car.
Yeah, I do like the diff.
Really has this figured out.
And I do.
I will tell you that.
Nice ship.
That is amazing.
It is amazing, isn't it?
It is amazing.
It's crazy that it is able to do that.
Wow. What a car.
And here's the thing is, they put a stick in it. It's all well and good, like, okay, Jag put a stick in the F-Type, right? And everyone was like, oh my God, they put a stick in the F-Type, yay. If you drive it, that transmission's garbage. This transmission is great.
This is not a notchy, old-style BMW
no,
transmission.
it's much better.
This has evolved. This transmission is almost 911-like. you know,
does feel a little.
It gives me
it doesn't
some
have that
997
heaviness.
feel.
That they're heavier. Like a 911 gear shift action is almost like, to me, it's VW like. It's really smooth and heavy. It's like that positive. This isn't that heavy, but it is positive. The throw is nice too.
Being a Porsche enthusiast and coming from the world of 911s, this really, I really feel that BMW is targeting the 911 very specifically. I don't think they're looking at Audi. I don't think they're looking at C63.
No.
I think they're looking at 911 buyers.
I would agree.
And they're giving you a much better option. I think this car, I think the Cayman is wonderful, but I think this power is needed. I think the Cayman's a little underpowered. I haven't driven the 4-liter yet, but the turbocharged 4 cylinders left a lot on the table, and thank God those are, you know, kind of coming to the end, and they're going to the 4-liter. But I mean, this is really a sports car.
It's a and you mentioned this, you know, it's a special car.
Yeah.
And it's amazing because we didn't have to, you know, we were like, okay, we're not going to rev it over 5,500, which is, you know, what they limit you to. It feels special, man. And this is, you know, this isn't even the competition.
It's exactly. This isn't the competition.
This is the 1.5.
I agree with you. I don't think the competition's worth it. I think.
Well, that being said, it is only like $2,900 more. It's not bad.
To be honest with you, I don't want a stiffer ride. This car rips.
Well, really, the competition is, okay, BMW's competition thing now, which when they first did it, I was angry because I'm like, okay, now you're telling me that when I buy...
Taylor,
what?
time out. Your favorite thing, gesture control.
Oh my God. No, that was BMW.
Okay.
Okay. That was hello BMW. But when BMW first started doing the competition thing, I was like, okay, so you're going to tell me I'm going to spend all this money on an M car, I'm going to save up. You know, an M3 is an aspirational car.
Absolutely.
You know, I'm 29. You know, it's an aspirational car for, you know, people around my age. So you're going to tell me I'm going to save my money for an M3. And then when I get it, there's another step up. It's like, oh, sorry, you have to get the competition. Also, how do we feel about that?
We'll save that.
Yeah.
I can gripe about that on the podcast.
So I guess at this point, you know, probably makes sense to whip out the window sticker and sort of give our concluding thoughts.
I think it's window sticker time.
We're going to chat, and then we'll get back to you in a second, and we'll wrap this up.
Final thoughts? Window sticker time.
MSRP, $71,800, and we talked about this while we were driving.
Which is not a small sum of money.
It's not.
But very reasonable for what
But
you're
when you drive it, $71,800, I was like, who?
You're getting a lot of hardware for $71,800.
Yep. So let's just go over the spec real quick.
Yeah.
Black sapphire, one of my favorite BMW colors. Metallic paint is $550. There are also individual options which range from $1,950 to I think it's like $5,000 for the frozen colors, whatever.
Car works in black.
$2,550 for the full leather.
It's a take it or leave it, you know.
If it matters to me, I'm a snob. Like I love like a leather dash and like leather lower. So to me,
I'm more of a hardware guy. You know, I would take executive pack with these laser headlights.
and that's $2,800, and you get the heated steering wheel,
Which I love.
power tailgate, but you get the laser light, you get head-up display, you get wireless charging, you get gesture control.
Thank God.
Woo!
Thank
and
God we get
a
gesture
Wi-Fi
control.
hotspot. The executive package, I think, is probably worth it just for the head-up display.
Yeah. And these laser headlights at night
So
are incredible.
the standard wheels are 18s in the front, 19s in the rear. These are 19s and 20s. Those are $1,300. I think those are a must.
I think those are a must. If you're trying to keep a lower profile, the smaller set doesn't look bad.
No, they don't look bad.
Doesn't look
no,
bad.
I don't hate them. Individual shadow line lights for $300 at 100%.
Yeah, you need it.
Have to do it.
And it offsets the grill,
Oh,
which
yeah.
we are not making a video about the grill.
No, we're not.
We are not those
I think
kind of reviewers.
It is so unoffensive in person. I'm not
It's-
even mad about it.
It works in black. I'm
not.
curious to see it.
I'm moving past it. I'm done talking about it. I'm sick of it, honestly. Last thing is the carbon trim, which at least they give you carbon on the steering wheel now, but now they charge you $950 for it.
I could leave it. I mean,
If you're a carbon guy or gal, you know, you need it.
I understand the people that option it.
Yeah.
And you know, like I said, if this is a stretch for you,
Yeah.
this is a lot of car in its
Yeah.
base spec.
And I mean, you know, everything, all the performance, right? The adaptive dampers, these, you know, not ceramics, but still really hefty brakes,
And
right?
all you need.
And the paint, by the way, so these are black instead of the standard blue, and you can do red as well. That's no charge,
Yeah,
which I think is
great.
cool. BMW's like,
And
hey,
it
you
looks
know what?
great.
Yeah, and if you wanted to do the deletion of the extended shadow line, which means you would get the chrome tailpipes in the rear, that actually also is no charge. So, you know, they're not charging you for extra shadow line.
BMW giving back.
Giving back to the people.
Wow.
Yeah.
So generous.
So, you know, I guess, so this car is 82,045, and that's including 995 destination. Sort of an overall verdict on this vehicle. I think you and I both agree that it feels special. It feels like an M car should to me.
Is it weird that I can't stop looking at the grill?
Shut up.
No, this review is not about the grill. Thank you, Taylor. Thank you.
No.
I think BMW has shown a masterclass again that they can build the reasonable sports car. Again, 72,000 is not cheap, but
they could have gone. They could have gone
money.
higher. I mean, and when you really do think about this car as a base Carrera rival, a 911 is a 911, and you know, I almost liken a 911 to like a G-Wagon, because I think if somebody wants a G-Wagon, they're going to get a G-Wagon. 9 times out of 10, if somebody wants a 911, they're going to get a 911. But I mean, if you drive a base 911 in this back-to-back, I mean, you'd be hard-pressed.
I struggle to spend the money to get a base 911 over a loaded-out, big-spec M4.
Yeah.
I mean, if you would have asked me that question 3 years ago, I would have said 911. BMW's come a long way with this motor and this setup, and you know, I think this car ticks a lot of boxes. I think it's special. I think it is a 911 alternative, and also I don't think you need the comp. I think you get enough hardware and you get enough involvement, whereas I think the comp is going to lead to a little bit of a remote driving experience.
Yeah, I think the 6-speed's so good in this car that I would agree that the M4 is probably the one to have. Also, just, you know, you're thinking long-term, you know, resale value and all that good stuff. Oh, we have a visitor. So Drew got a little interrupted there by a visitor.
Hey, but we are huge fans of Golden Doodles and all dogs that drive down.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. So, you know, overall, my thoughts, I honestly couldn't be happier. And I think overall, people root against, you know, the top dog, right? People root against the favorite. When a new M3, M4 comes out, everybody wants us, anybody to hop on video and review it. Chris Harris review it and be like, this thing sucks. It's not, it's remote. The steering has no feel. It doesn't drive. It's better than the F80. If you're in an F80, you're going to drive this and be like, okay, this is, you know, it's the steering, it's the immediacy, it's the athleticism, it's the tuning of the powertrain. And I'm sure, you know what, that comp, I might need to drive one if we can get our hands on one, BMW Cleveland, please. Because I think that 480 pound-feet of torque is going to be ridiculous. Because this already is torquey.
This car is going to be hard to beat. You know, I think BMW M is back where they need to be. I think they're not looking at AMG anymore. I think they're back to looking at Porsche, and it shows. And
I would agree. I mean, you look at the full suite of M products right now. I mean, you know, people criticize them, but the X5, X6M are cool. X3M, X4M ride like crap, but are dynamically unbelievable. M5, M8, crazy tour de forces. You know, M2 CS.
Which hopefully we'll get a nice review out of one of those soon.
Yeah.
I think, like I said, congratulations to BMW. You guys are back, and we're looking forward to more products.
It's great. And, you know, if you are interested in one of these, you know, feel free to reach out to BMW Cleveland. This one, I know they have more coming in, and, you know, I encourage you to go check one out in person, because it is an awesome car, and I'm really, really happy. And it's a 6-speed.
And praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord. I think that's going to do it for us.
Yeah.
Thanks for spending the time with us. I'm Taylor.
Drew.
And again, like we said, this is sort of in the infancy, but you know, at the beginning of the video, if you want to, you know, check out our website, which eventually will be coming online, you know, our Instagram page here on YouTube, we'll continue to, you know, get some new content on here, but you know, exciting times ahead, and we definitely want to hear your feedback, so let us know what you want to see.
Like, follow, and subscribe. Thank you, DriveDown.
That's always your job. I'm not good at that. Thank you, guys. Bye.